The government's record responsibility to provide compulsory education has bumped up against religious rights. In Greene County, Wisconsin, 1972, the Wisconsin v. Yoder case struck a compromise between the two. For some background information, Jonas Yoder and Wallace Miller, both members of the Old Order Amish religion, and Aidan Yutzi, a member of the conservative Amish Mennonite Church, were prosecuted under Wisconsin law after their 3 children stopped attending school at New Glarus High School after they graduated 8th grade. They were Frida Yoder, age 15, Barbara Miller, also age 15, and Vernon Yutzi, age 14. However, in Greene County, it was required that all children attend public schools until age 16, which deemed their acts as illegal. The school district pressured the students and the parents to get them to attend school, but the 3 parents refused to send their children to such schools after the 8th grade, arguing that high school attendance was contrary to their religious beliefs. Greene County did not care that it was against their religious beliefs and proceeded to fine the parents $5 for breaking the county's compulsory attendance law. You may be wondering, really? Only $5? But it's the 1970s, and it was worth a lot back then. The parents argued it was Amish tradition to not enroll their kids in public school after 8th grade. The 2 reasons Amish people believe this is, for one, practicality. Amish teenagers generally need to begin learning a trade after 8th grade, and public high school usually does not offer the adequate training for them. The second reason is due to religious purposes. The Amish tend to see high school and colleges as institutions that might promote ideas that go against their traditional Christian values and prevent them from going into heaven. Jonas Yoder, the father of Frida, represented the other parents in court, but the Amish generally don't like going to court to settle disputes. Because of this, a Lutheran minister named William Lindholm took an interest in their case and decided to help them fight, as he believed the country's compulsory attendance law went against free exercise clause of the First Amendment. The First Amendment protects several basic freedoms in the United States, including freedom of religion. They appealed to the Wisconsin Circuit Court, who agreed with the lower court, which was prosecuting the parents, and ultimately resulted in their loss. So they appealed again to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, who agreed with Yoder and the rest, overturning the decision. The Wisconsin Supreme Court said that the state of Wisconsin couldn't show that having an educational system for all its citizens was more important than the Amish family's rights to practice their religion freely. The Supreme Court of the United States agreed to take on the case and hear oral arguments on December 8, 1971. The arguments at play were compulsory education versus religious freedom. Yoder made the argument that high school threatened Amish kids' way of life. Wisconsin argued that Amish kids may choose to leave the Amish faith once they reach adulthood. Therefore, public education was essential to adapt to the real world and help them make their own decisions. So this question arises: did Wisconsin's requirement that all parents send their children to school at least until age 16 violate the First Amendment by criminalizing the conduct of parents who refuse to send their children to school for religious reasons? The answer is yes. The court said yes on May 15, 1972, as they say they sided with Yoder. The judge's decision was unanimous, although Justice Powell and Rehnquist did not vote, and Justice William Douglas gave a partial dissent. He stated, "I agree with the court that the religious scruples of the Amish are opposed to the education of their children beyond the grade schools, yet I disagree with the court's conclusion that the matter is within the dispensation of the parents alone." Douglas believed that the children should also be entitled to be heard. The rest of his fellow judges responded by mentioning that the case is between the parents and the state. However, the unanimous decision passed as the court said the 14th Amendment was applicable to the states in this case, which granted all persons born in the U.S. rights and citizenship, and that the Free Exercise Clause of the First Amendment did protect Amish parents' rights to take their kids out of the school. The court also said that there was no evidence that 2 more years in high school would make these kids any more prepared for the real world or any more of a burden. As we all know, not all belief systems are protected by that clause. Of course, if someone had a crazy belief system that severely harmed these children, they would not be protected under this amendment. That's like saying, I can murder someone because I follow this religion and this religion says so. So good news is that you can't really dismiss anything under religion clause. So overall, Wisconsin versus Yoder further protected the free exercise clause of the First Amendment. This case is the case that has brought up the most in defense of homeschooled kids. The court also mentioned that it was only okay if it was a well-established religion that was consistent historically about the reasoning for taking the kids out of the school. So, to reiterate, the impact of the ruling in Wisconsin versus Yoder developed the precedent that parents were allowed to educate their children outside of either the public school system or traditional private schools, and in doing so, it prioritized the free exercise of religion over state interest. The key takeaway from this case is that everyone's protected by the free exercise clause of the First Amendment. That's it for this court case. I hope this video helped you guys understand this more clearly, and thank you for listening and watching. Bye!